All right, time being 7:01, I will call the Plan Commission meeting to order. We have roll call, please.
Mayor Grant.
Here.
Iverson.
Here.
Hutton. Colash. Poppy.
Here.
Split.
Here.
We're good?
All right, is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Second. Thank you, Doug and John. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Next would be looking for a motion to approve the minutes from December 15th meeting.
I've looked those over previously from tonight, and I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from December 15th Plan Commission meeting.
Thank you, Doug. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Lance. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved. All right, moving into our first public hearing. This is a rezoning request from Jason and Julie Tom to rezone the property located at 404 West Fond du Lac Street. The request is to change from R1 single family to R2 1 and 2 family. The time is now 7:03. I will call that public hearing open. Are Jason and Julie here? Right there. Did you want to say anything on your own behalf?
Well, we were just, it was already grandfathered in when we purchased it originally, and we were unaware that it was ever rezoned into a single family. And we had recently moved in order to help support my mom in Green Lake. And we wanted to rent out both units again, and that's when we found out that it was zoned single family. Our son is living upstairs, and we would like him to be able to live on his own and as an adult and have his own address. So we are asking that it be a duplex again, and we are renting the lower portion of it as well.
All right. Thank you. Any other public comment?
I did have one email from Tom and Karen Powers that states no problem with us rezone away.
Are they neighbors?
From 322 West Fond du Lac, so in the,
A block away.
yes.
All right.
They actually share the driveway.
Oh, much closer than a block away. All right, thank you.
He also wants coupons and discounts on his property tax, but sorry.
All right, if there's no other public comment, time is 7:05. I will call that hearing closed. Any questions or discussion from the commission or Sue? Anything from you?
No.
Okay. John?
I'd like to hear from Lud if there is a grandfather clause, if it did get rezoned. I don't know how it would go from a duplex when they bought it to single family.
Yeah, I'm curious too. I was going to ask Sue, do we have any record of it being R2 before it became R1?
No.
We have
Every
no-
zoning map I've looked at, it's always been R1.
Okay.
But years ago, it was probably turned into a duplex, but because it wasn't used as a duplex for 12 months, it reverts back to being a single family then.
Okay.
But now they want to turn it back into the duplex. Now they need to be only R2.
But we have no history of it being zoned R2.
No, no,
That's
it's always
kind
been
of
an
to your
R1.
question.
Right, yes, yeah.
That's an important question. That
Okay.
We're not bouncing back and forth. It was R1. It was used as an R2.
Right.
And this is not a spot area?
There is R2, I do believe, behind it.
There's R2,
Is it to the east?
let me pull up the map.
So used to the other room, it's on the wall.
Yeah, usually that's what
Usually
when
you
we
look
walked in
around,
there
it's
tonight,
right
I go, That question is going to be a little more difficult.
Because I do believe that we did look to see if it was.
There was
spot
area close or contiguous or close to contiguous. We've never been hard and cold, and this is on West Fond du Lac Street, which is
Right.
very commercial-like in its primary use down the road, if you will.
And for clarification, spot zoning is not illegal, it's just not encouraged.
Correct, correct. It's a planning function that we're here for. So it's relevant to know why we would go to R2. That's why John's question is right on. If we're popping back and forth, that's relevant. You know, why are we changing rules in midstream? I think Sue's answer could be very apropos that it may have been utilized as R2 and nobody said anything, might be one explanation. And then if it's not in use for a period of 12 months, it no longer is grandfathered.
Right.
That's the concept
Okay.
of grandfather in any zoning district. But if we have an area close by that's R2, I don't see a problem on that area of the city. And that's what essentially the planning people, the city administrator, and the building inspector are not objecting, correct?
Correct.
There are areas in this vicinity that are R2, including kind of across the creek here, and then also kind of across the way here on State Street, as well as then off of.
And both neighbors were informed and had no objection. One actually affirmatively agreed. And again, the mayor is correct, it's not illegal. The spot zone is just discouraged in the sense of you're trying to get around the ordinances or the laws of the city to do somebody a favor. That's not what this appears to be, because there are R2 zoning in the area.
There's R2 zoning in the area, as well as, frankly, I think, and I'll mention this later on, is revising the zoning code to have conversion duplexes be allowed in the R1 district is something we will be bringing forward to avoid this situation in the future, because it just, you know, it just sort of makes sense on some level.
From a
So-
planning perspective, but that's not the ordinances either.
That is not, but I'm
It's
just
a
saying.
sidelight to the discussion.
Yes.
I'm satisfied that you've identified R2 in the area.
Yes.
Okay. So I think, does that answer your question, John?
Yeah, perfect.
I think confuse it.
Yeah.
I think we
No,
came
that's-
around the back door. Obviously, that is a very legitimate concern. This is a planning question this evening. Do we, as the city planning body, have any concerns about that being R2, which allows, obviously, multiple family? I think considerations are there R2 in the area? And the nature of the neighborhood, which is, we're talking about West Fond du Lac Street, Highway 23. I think are two components that this body could put weight on in allowing this rezoning to take place.
One more question. How did the owners find out that they had to apply for this? Did we, the city, contact them, or did they contact us?
They contacted me for another
Okay.
address, and that's when I found out
Gotcha.
that it had to
Okay.
be rezoned.
Because there's probably more situations like
And I do believe
this.
there's a couple more on that street, but
Yeah.
at the time, you know, they've always been used as duplexes,
Mm-hmm.
so they're grandfathered in, but because it was a duplex, then they used it as single family for so many years. Now they want to go back to a duplex. Now we got to do it the correct way,
Right.
get it rezoned.
To give it two addresses.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Or any motions on the matter?
I'll make a motion to approve the rezoning request.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the rezoning request for 404 West Fond du Lac Street from single family to 1 and 2 family, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is approved. Thank you. All right, moving on to our next request, another public hearing. This request is by Andrew Kegler and, or of Little Something Somthin LLC for a conditional use permit to allow residential use in a B1 district at 214 Jefferson Street. Time is now 7:12. I will open that public hearing now. Andrew?
Hi, Andy Kegler. We actually don't own the building yet. We were looking at purchasing, but it currently only has a half bath. And we were looking at actually using it as, for us, just a temporary residence, because we're planning on building a new house on 930 Watson. So we needed to rebuild this to have a kitchen, full bathroom. So to do that, we're looking to convert it.
To be clear, you're asking for a conditional use.
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that. You're not asking to rezone. You're asking for a conditional use permit to be granted to allow a property that is in a B1 zone to be utilized as an R1 use.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and to be clear here, so the current owner is Little Something Somthin LLC. There's an offer to purchase. Within that offer to purchase is a contingency that states, you know, they have applied for a conditional use permit. If that conditional use permit is approved, you know, they will move forward with the closing of the property. This is not a rezone, as Lud had said. This is a conditional use in a B1 for residential property, so this will stay commercially zoned property, and if it's not approved or something falls through, simply the conditional use permit is not executed and it remains a commercial property and up for sale.
And the conditional use is contingent on the sale?
Essentially, yes.
Yes, okay.
And for the record, it's not in the central business.
It is not in the central business district.
Thank you.
Any further public comment before I close the hearing?
There were, let's just say, 2 or 3 phone calls just asking about this because it's kind of a confusing situation just by property owners around there, and none of them objected once it was explained. So I don't have all the names and numbers of everybody that called, but people were just generally just, isn't it a house already? Because it just kind of looks like a house. So just want to note that.
All right. Time is 7:14. I will close the public hearing. Comments or questions from the commission?
Just for clarification, under the ordinance 2028.01, it calls out uses permitted with conditional use permit, specifically calling out residential, 1-family, 2-family, and multiple family dwelling units. However, if the property is located in the downtown development district, then the residential unit must be located above the first floor level of the principal use. City administrator and the building inspector verify that it is not in what has commonly been designated downtown development district. For the record, is that correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Thank you.
All right. Any comments, questions? John?
The conditional use permit, is that like a 1-year permit? So after, say they would move after 1 year, does it go back to a, I mean, it never really leaves the business district, but then somebody has to apply again to live there? Or can somebody live there, can they move out and they rent it with the conditional use permit?
Goes with the property, doesn't it?
Goes with the property.
So it stays with,
Stay with the property.
so if they were still the owners but didn't live there, they could still rent it out?
But if they're.
Is there a point in that where it would have to get rezoned?
Right,
Yeah.
they're saying it's an R1 residential property, which means owner occupied. By definition, does it not?
I'm
It's
just
a
wondering,
single,
I can
it's a
ask-
single
Single
family,
family.
it's a single family use. I think, from the standpoint of, you know, what is a common use in a R1 district, rental properties are a very common use in a single family district. So if they chose to rent it out, I think it would just be a continuation of that conditional use.
Okay.
If somebody else buys it and wants to do something else, then they'll have to come and get approval. There are allowable uses in that district already.
So it's not going to be used commercially? Is that the request?
It wouldn't be used commercially by us, no.
It would not be used commercially by you? Okay, just that's a clarification that we don't have dual use. You're asking it to be used as a residence. Okay, then I would agree with the comments regarding rental. I'd be a little more concerned if we're talking about making it something that carries both uses. So I'm satisfied that it runs with the land.
Okay.
So it's there, it's been granted by this body, it's able to go on and be utilized in that fashion.
Okay.
I think there's a need for more housing, obviously, so another rental would be nice in the future if that's what they decide to do with it.
Any questions, comments, motions?
And just as a comment, obviously the applicant was being very honest, that they're not saying we want it forever.
Right.
We may use it
Yeah.
temporarily, so it's an honest request to this body saying that they may happen, and I think the discussion follows that if we decide to grant it, it may become a rental use as a
Yeah.
residential, so your comments are
I do have
appropriate.
one question. Do we want to clarify in the motion that it's single-family use
Yes, yes, because yes.
and not two-family?
Yep, very, very, yeah, well stated, that's your request, so yes, that we not turn it into a duplex.
Would anyone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve this, to approve 214 Jefferson Street as single-family residential use,
One family only.
one family only, single-family residential use in a B1 district.
I second that.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to item number 3 of the evening, the site plan review for S&L Properties Ripon LLC at 1086 West Fond du Lac Street, the Culver's location. And I believe we have a presentation here. Before we start, can we get your names?
Yes, my name is Emily Bublitz with McCon Building Corporation, and this is Chris McGuire, also with McCon Building Corporation.
Okay, thank you.
And we're representing the owners, S&L Properties, or the
All right,
general
thank-
contractor for the project, or for the
Thank-
proposed project. And I would like to start off by thanking city staff again for all their help and guidance in this process. We just received approval for the variance, which involved adding the outside lane to the drive-through about 30 minutes ago. And we have found that double drive-throughs help the guest experience with a faster and smoother flow. There will be no directional changes to the lot. The flow will remain exactly the same. Site parking will also remain unchanged. Total spaces will remain as 39 stalls and 2 ADA stalls. There will be an addition of another ordering station. This additional ordering station will include an island with curb, and then it'll be filled with black dirt and landscaping. There will be lot striping and markings around the new island to direct vehicle flow. Foundations for this new ordering station will include a new menu board sign base, speaker post base, and clearance pole base. There will also be a concrete pad where the vehicle will order and a sensor loop location underneath that concrete pad. The new drive-through lane will require the removal of 3 trees. And if we're able to relocate these trees, we will gladly do so. The additional ordering station will also allow for an additional 3 cars to be off of the street. The dumpster corral orientation is also changing. This will allow for this new drive-through flow. So rather than the dumpster doors opening to the northwest as they currently do, they'll now open to the southwest. So the footprint of the dumpster is not changing, just the door location on the dumpster. I am more than happy to answer any questions that you have.
John?
What was the nature of the variance that they got granted? Was it like setback to Mapes Drive or?
Yep, it was the signage and parking and pavement setbacks.
Okay.
The only question that I have, well, neither here nor there, but both ordering stations will funnel into a single lane for customer pickup?
That is correct. So it's like a zipper motion as they move forward.
All right, thank you. That's the only question I have.
The ones you can never figure out who's going first.
Yeah. I always get it right at-
I think I've never gotten it right.
Any further questions for them? No? Any motions to approve the site plan?
I'll make a motion to approve the site plan for 1086 West Fond du Lac Street, commonly known as Culver's. Approve their site plan review for dual lane ordering.
Thank you.
One question, please. Was the variance, was it a unanimous vote?
Yes.
Okay. I'll second.
Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the site plan for 1086 West Fond du Lac Street, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. All right, looks like we're not gonna have information on item number 4 this evening, so we'll push that off to the next meeting. Any project updates or staff reports? Sue? No? Adam?
So just like I had mentioned previously, with that discussion about the rezoning request is we are working on some draft amendments to R1, R2, and R3 zoning code to just be a little bit more friendly, I believe, or flexible. So the Planning Commission certainly has a role in that, so we will bring those forward as time goes by here. So it's kind of a big project, but ultimately really trying to make logical changes to promote affordable housing as well as flexibility to property owners if they want to make minor changes within their property. So we'll bring that forward and we'll take feedback, but it'll be, kind of a process, but we'll get moving on that into 2022. So that's all I have.
All right. Any suggestions for future agenda items? Nope. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned at 7:25.